So now we have one of our rounds of dough, and the recipe asks us to roll out the dough to a rectangle about 10 inches by 12 inches, or 10 by 14, I'm sorry. And what I've done, whoops, I taped it down to make sure that it wouldn't move, but oh, and that's just not good, is it? Well, we'll worry about that another time. So I'm going to roll out on the parchment paper our dough, and hopefully I'll get a rectangle. I've also floured our rolling pin. She's looking for, actually the recipe is looking for a thickness of 1/16. And I could get the ruler out. Oops. Make sure that your surface is pretty clear of other items before you roll. Okay, getting some pickup, and that means that I need to add some flour. So that's what I'm going to do. Oh, didn't add it down here. Need to do that. Next time I'm using a bigger surface to roll on, because I'm really trying to be careful in this little area right here. Okay, so let's trim it down a little bit. Now let's see. We're using a pizza cutter to do our trimming. Let's move our extras out of the way. And I can tell you right now that this does not measure 10 by 14 at all. But what I'd like to do is just show you in a larger way what we're looking at doing when we make these crackers. And when I show you the resulting crackers, you'll understand what I mean. Okay, so you've seen our classic graham crackers. What I'm going to do is run the pizza cutter down the middle. Oh boy, that wasn't the middle, was it? Oh well, we're going to keep going. And I need a straighter pizza cutter. That's my problem. I do not have a straight pizza cutter. It's wobbly. Look at that. Isn't that horrible? I should just use a knife. Okay. So I'm going to make a little design with my fork, keeping it very simple. And then what we do is we transfer this piece, we don't lift the cookies up, we're transferring the piece directly to our baking sheets. The first round of graham crackers is now out of the oven and pretty darn hot. As you can see, the lines from the pizza cutter are pretty crooked. Anyway, what we're doing is we're letting them cool on the pan for probably about 10-15 minutes, as long as the next round takes to bake. And then I'm going to break them apart and let them cool in a rack. And I'll let you take a look at them then. In the meantime, I'm going to roll out another set on some parchment paper and make some cool designs on them. As you can see, I've done quite a few things differently in this third round of baking the graham crackers. First, I used the tail end of a fork to make some really fun designs just to see how they would come out. And I just did a variety of different designs just to be fun and creative. And I used a smaller floured biscuit cutter, and I just lined them up so it'll be easier to break off. And I switched to a smaller rolling pin. This is actually a fondant rolling pin, but I use it all the time for things like this and some Indian breads that I've made. And right now what we're going to do is transfer our graham crackers to the baking sheet. And now I'm going to put this in the oven and bake it for about 15 minutes. When the first round of cookies came out of the oven, they were very easy to break apart, but first I let them cool for a bit on their baking sheet Actually, what I did was I took out the parchment paper that they were sitting on and let them cool a little bit on the hot baking sheet. So you can see that the bottom is a little crispy. These are also thicker than any of the other rounds that we've made. So this is the first round, and they'll probably go pretty quickly. They won't be as crunchy or as crackery as the subsequent rounds we're going to make, but I'm sure they'll be just as tasty. Our final round of our cookies, our graham crackers, this is in the oven at the moment, and what I'm going to do now is separate along the lines, and they break apart pretty easily. You can see here there's an extra piece where the cutter didn't line up exactly, but now I'm going to let them cool on a baking sheet. I actually got to try one of them, and I kind of prefer the more brown ones. They do taste an awful lot like graham crackers, except for they don't have the sprinkling of cinnamon and sugar on top. But they're pretty darn good. I think they're good. I think this is the best round of graham crackers I've tried yet. And they even have little happy faces.